With the CMA trying to delay the Microsoft Activision deal, Microsoft had decided to submit a change of circumstances form in order to get past this. They did this on the 25th of July, and this is what we're going to talk about today. So as you probably know by now, the only regulators that are actually going against this deal are the CMA. The CMA have tried everything they can to delay for as long as possible, but it's inevitable that they're going to have to allow it to go through. Obviously, one of the big things about this is that if they decide to try to block the deal, then Microsoft will just carve out the UK section and continue as normal. This would essentially negatively affect business in the UK for the gaming market and would be a negative impact on our economy in the UK. As you obviously know, I'm from the UK, so this will affect me and all other gamers in the UK if they decide to block it. So effectively, Microsoft have proven in the FTC case that it is not an anti-competitive merger. This submission for a material change of circumstances is essentially saying that after that case they have proven that it's not anti-competitive, therefore the CMA have no grounds to block the deal. So they say, first, as the CMA is aware, prior to the FR, which is the final report, Microsoft entered into cloud gaming licensing agreements with Nvidia, Boostroid and Ubisoft, providing cloud gaming services with the agreements since the final report. Microsoft have also entered into a fourth agreement with Cloudware SL, which provides the cloud gaming service Enware. The commitments impose a legally binding 10-year obligation on Microsoft to grant royalty-free worldwide licenses to Nvidia, Boostroid and Ubisoft in accordance with the terms of the Microsoft agreement with those firms. The commitments prevent Microsoft from terminating the terms or amending them, so essentially they are stuck in a 10-year contract and there's nothing they can do to change that. This of course proves from what the CMA are saying about the fact it's anti-competitive in the cloud gamer market. It proves this is completely incorrect and they're completely wrong. So as you might be aware, the CMA's main argument is that it's anti-competitive for cloud gaming for the merger to go through. But with these agreements in place, it is no longer anti-competitive, therefore they need to change their decision. And then they give the reasons as to why this is the case. And it says on the 15th of July 2023, Sony entered into an extended agreement for the provision of Call of Duty, which is the principal Activision game with which Sony is and has been concerned. The entry into this agreement with Sony is a material change of circumstances and or special reason for reaching a different decision. Their argument here obviously is that now there's an agreement in place for Call of Duty with Sony, that there's no reason to go against it because the agreement's in place for at least 10 years. And this is because obviously Sony were being protected by the CMA and essentially the FTC on their cases to stop the deal going through, as it would be detrimental to Sony, even though it wouldn't be. Microsoft have made it completely clear what they wanted to do and what their intentions were from the start, and they're essentially stating here that they have kept with what they said they were going to do and they haven't changed their stance on anything. As opposed to the regulators like the FTC and the CMA, where they've been consistently switching their stance to try to find a way to stop the merger without any legitimate proof or evidence that it's actually anti-competitive. And essentially what they're saying in this part of the document is that it would not benefit them to remove these games or Activision games from services that they're putting them onto, and also wouldn't benefit them to take their games off of the Sony platform, because financially that would be a massive hit. And this is something they have maintained the entire time throughout this entire merger. Third, since the final report, significant new material has become available which is relevant to the evidential assessment in the final report and which undermines the final report's conclusions, in particular on the issue of market definition and ability and incentive. In the unusual circumstances in this case, the FTC only made a request for a preliminary injunction to enjoy the transaction after the final report. The parallel proceedings in the US concerned theories of harm in relation to both console and cloud and involved a 5-day evidentiary hearing. And this is them talking about how the FTC failed to stop the merger because they couldn't prove that there was any anti-competitiveness in the market due to this merger going through. I cannot speak. And evidently I didn't realise before today that saying anti-competitiveness can be actually a difficult thing to say. So the new material emerging from the US is further supported by new data analysis, which has only been possible following the disclosure process in the tribunal proceedings in the UK. It then continues on to talk about how the FTC material and new analysis is supported by evidence that has only been disclosed to Microsoft following the final report, and that's during the course of UK proceedings. Essentially what the FTC managed to do was bring out these things that essentially proved that there was no anti-competitiveness in the market, which has kind of changed the way that this is going and changed the direction of this whole merger situation. As you may know, the CMA very quickly decided to relook at their decision after the FTC failed to stop the merger, and because of this, obviously, we know that it's very likely going to go through because they know they've messed up, and their only real evidence or case they had was based on the FTC's case itself. If you've been paying attention to this entire thing, then you'll likely know that there were questions about how the FTC and CMA were communicating with each other during all of these proceedings and these trials coming into play. And of course, this kind of makes you think, well, were they working together to try to stop it? And when the FTC failed, the CMA have to essentially drop their case and withdraw and surrender and admit they were wrong. As I said before, the CMA are trying to stop the merger. They're the only ones doing it, and they are looking like complete idiots as it stands because they've got nothing to go on and nothing as in evidence to essentially stop the merger from going through because they've not got any good reasons essentially for that to happen. The CMA's job essentially is to find if there's any kind of anti-competitiveness in the market. They need to look at the information and they need to try to actually find remedies to fix that issue in order to go forward. So the CMA has obviously failed to do this and failed to do their jobs. They started off saying that there was an issue with Sony and the fact that Sony would potentially lose out because of it, and that was anti-competitiveness because of that. And then later on they decided to switch over to cloud gaming as being an issue, saying that because it's a fast growing market, there would be anti-competitiveness in place because of the cloud gaming market that Microsoft would take over. However, it's now been proven the cloud gaming market is actually a very small market and it is not growing as fast as they were claiming. This essentially says the CMA have just been making up facts and information on their own terms in order to try to stop the merger without any actual legitimate evidence to present to be able to stop it. It then goes on to talk about other cases where the CMA were involved where they had to make decisions depending on certain criteria. All of this information in these documents I will link down in the description below so you can go to it yourself and read this yourself if you need to. This is published by the UK government, so it's all there, and obviously there's redactions. It's heavily redacted. Obviously we're still waiting for any kind of results of this, and we'll have to wait and see what happens, as always. Personally, I don't think the CMA actually have any grounds to stop this merger. I also don't think that the Microsoft Activision merger is going to be anti-competitive, based on the fact that it's actually going to bring more games from Activision's catalogue to other platforms. And obviously doing that actually helps the market. Nvidia have come out saying straight up that they actually think this is a good thing because it's definitely helping them out to get more games onto their platform. So essentially this has just been people trying to delay and make excuses to stop a merger that's not anti-competitive. It does not cause any problems with the market. In fact, it actually helps it. And I know that PlayStation fans will disagree with this, but when it comes down to it, whether you own a PlayStation or an Xbox or PC, Nintendo Switch or whatever you own, you shouldn't be trying to say that one thing is wrong because it's nothing to do with your chosen console. If people are going to start complaining or saying that, oh, it's not fair, it's anti-competitive, it's going to ruin the market, you then need to look at the exclusives and games and the studios that belong to the console developer that you follow and you like. Realistically, this is not anti-competitive. Whether you want to say it or not, you deep down inside know it's a good step forward and it's bringing these things to other platforms, which is always a positive thing. Personally, I have no skin in this at all. I actually follow all of the consoles. I've had Nintendo Switch before, a PlayStation and an Xbox and a PC. I don't have a selected platform that I play on. When it comes to consoles, I actually decide and prefer to play on PC because I just deem it to be better. And that is my own opinion. And you don't have to agree with my opinion because that's what opinions are. When it comes down to this merger, it's actually competitive. It's creating competition in the market, which is always good. If you have a developer that makes a game that no one competes against, then they get lazy and they don't do anything to change it or improve it. But when you have competition in the market, people have to up their game. I'll use an example with the FIFA games. Without competition, FIFA do not have to really, EA generally doesn't have to really make FIFA football games any better than they already are. They can just keep recycling the same thing and add in a few new features. However, if there is a major competitor on the market that comes out to compete against them, then the FIFA games will have to have a lot more in them every single installment that comes out, which actually increases competition, but it also gives us gamers a better gaming experience. And this is always a good thing in the market. You don't ever want one company to essentially take over one part of the market and no one else have a chance against them. Because in this kind of situation, it will actually just make them get lazy and not try to make their game better every single year. But that is it for this video anyway. So if you like the video, then drop a like on it, comment down below, give me your opinion, tell me what you think. And please don't start arguments because you like PlayStation or you like Microsoft. Don't put people down, there's no need for it. When it comes down to it, everyone has their own opinion and they have a right to their own opinion. I don't like mushrooms. That doesn't affect you though, does it, realistically? So if you like my content, then please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't take you long to do. You'll keep up to date with my stuff. Hit that notification bell so you can get notifications as to when I upload new videos, because I am sporadic, as I've said before, and you won't necessarily be able to follow my content on like a Monday to Friday basis because I don't do that. I'm busy with things all the time, but I try to get out videos as often as I can, and I try to cover new things. Also, if there's any games or anything that you would like me to review, then put it down in the comments. I'll give the game a go, and I'll put up a review for it, and, you know, can help you in that way. You help me, I help you, sort of thing. So, I've been Lycan. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one.